Hey guys, welcome into the show. My name is Tyler Kluver. I'm a former Division 1 athlete. I now run a fitness coaching business as well as a sports media brand that creates podcasts, sells merchandise, and creates other exclusive content. This show is a place for me to document my thoughts on fitness, health, nutrition, maybe some business or mindset stuff, as well as update anyone listening on my own competitive fitness endeavors and life events. I want everybody that comes and listens to this show to take something away that can make their life better, whether it's a diet or fitness tip or a way of thinking about things that motivates you to be better in your own life. Hopefully, we can get that done. But regardless, I'm glad you're here. Let's have a day. Let's go. And we're back. Welcome, Snap Podcast. It might be a little bit echoey in here, especially when I close the door. I have an actual office now with a door. I have my own dedicated space now for the Snapped Podcast, exclusively the Snap Podcast studio. That's not actually true. Everything that I do will be done out of this office, but nonetheless, I'm feeling official. Now, the sound quality, still on my great mic, which I'm messing with right now. But we're going to have to get the sound dynamics figured out for this room. That might include some soundproofing, some panels. I don't know. There's probably other ways to help with that. Keeping the door open will certainly help with that to dissipate some of that sound bouncing off these walls. But for now, we're doing it with the door closed. And welcome back. As I mentioned in the last couple episodes, at least one of the last couple episodes, I would be doing the new podcast from the new studio, the new office in the new house. We have officially moved. If you're one of the very, very, very few people who would actually tune into this and watch this episode, some of the memorabilia is behind me. Off of the walls, it looks very much so like just your standard person who just moved houses. So we're getting all that figured out, but we're back in a groove. And that means another podcast, another week. And this week's episode is on something a little bit different. I don't know how many of you are going to even be aware of the sort of the basis of this episode. We're taking a little bit of a left turn here. And the title of this video / podcast will definitely be a little bit clickbaity, depending upon if you're in the know or not. But we're gonna use Sketch, the Twitch streamer Sketch, as the tagline basis of this video. For some of you who may know, there's people who play video games for a living or they stream certain things for a living. They are a streamer or they are a YouTuber, sort of a similar thing. I know a lot of people in this audience right now are like, yeah, I know what that is. Duh. And so a few of you are like, oh, that's interesting. Sketch is a streamer. He plays Madden. He plays a few other games. He's become very, very popular in the last year or so, and he is a beloved streamer. I don't believe that a whole lot of people disliked him. He's just a very likable dude. He blew up. He's started to get a ton of attention. I think he's close to like 1 million followers. He's a funny dude. You know, he's a Houston Texans fan. The Texans brought him out to announce a draft pick at the NFL draft this past spring, all this stuff. And then this week, it came out that I believe he's like 25 years old. He's around 25. This week, it comes out that somebody had done a deep dive. I don't know how the internet finds these things or how this goes, but someone had done a deep dive and or come across the fact that Sketch, which is his username, it's not his real name, before he blew up on streaming, had previously been involved in creating OnlyFans content, which is interesting. Obviously, for the younger crowd, I guess the less skilled crowd, specifically females, OnlyFans has become basically a website where, for money, you can put things behind a paywall. Most of the time, those things end up being uh, sexual, exclusive content, not safe for work kind of stuff. Basically, creating your own pornography that people can come and buy, and you become basically a self-made remote porn star. That is not the point of this episode. The point is that the sketch guy was found doing some of this stuff, and not only doing some of this stuff, but um, it was doing it with another dude. So it started to involve a whole bunch of backlash against him being gay, homophobia, all this different stuff. The point I'm trying to make is this was big news in like the gaming, streaming, online community. Sketch came out like the day after or maybe 2 days after and simply straight up addressed it in a funny, very himself video that was entertaining. It was like 6 minutes long and was basically like, yeah, that was me. That was me. I own up to that. That was me. I am not the same person I was 2 years ago or 3 years ago. I have made some mistakes in my past. I am a changed person. I've come a long way, yada, yada. And I think what this illustrates is the fact that if he would have denied this or not talked about it for some long amount of time, drawn it out over weeks or tried to deny that it was him, this would have been the storyline. This would have been the focus of his life, of a lot of news outlets. Uh, it would have completely derailed his focus and what he's trying to do on a daily basis with streaming. But instead, he comes out, he owns up to it, he tells the truth. This is like the basis, the true life lesson of this episode is like you tell the truth. And now, a couple days later, like quite literally 2 or 3 days later, he is not the main storyline anymore. And although it's still stuff is still going around and people are still kind of, the peak, the high of the drama online is still kind of settling, and there are still more than average conversations going on about this scandal about him. They will continue to fizzle out, and probably by the time this time next week for sure, but probably even by the end of the weekend, it will be old news, and most 95% of people will not care anymore. And by owning up and just being like, "Yep, that was me," and we're moving on, we're addressing it, moving on, owning it. Um, Life will go back to normal. Not a whole lot will be changed. He will be able to focus on moving on with his life. It's a weight off of his shoulders, all this kind of stuff. And I think what the 8 minutes of opening in this video, I think this illustrates like what does this have to do with fitness? What does this have to do with business or mindset or all the things that I open this podcast up in the intro with and say this is what this podcast is about. I think this illustrates very, very well what being honest and owning your shit will do for you. Now, of course, we haven't seen this situation that I've described play out yet, but I have a pretty good idea that, like I said, this will pass through the news cycle, and by this time next week, there will be something other people are worried about. And because he owned up to it, it will not affect his life. He will be able to move on, grow, continue to succeed, and really not be impacted by this a whole lot. It sucks for the moment for him, and is probably embarrassing and stuff, but he owns it and moves on. I think that whether it's life, and I haven't done this very well either in the past, life, or even more specifically in business or fitness, which is what this kind of podcast is about. I think if we adopted this mindset and you did this yourself, and no, it's not going to be on a national level or a super public level, but if you straight up owned your shit, what are the demons? What are the things holding you back right now in life? And you just own those and address them, you would be able to move on and be a lot more successful, make a lot more progress, gains, go, gain ground on your goals that you're trying to reach a whole lot faster with a whole lot more resistance if you just owned your shit. Right now, for me personally, relative to the goals that I'm trying to reach in CrossFit and fitness, I kind of know that currently in this month, due to a lot of factors, moving houses, was on a vacation, all this other stuff, going to a wedding this week, I'm simply not doing the amount of training or eating, approaching my nutrition like I need to be my best in the gym, to be gaining the most progress with my fitness. I know that. And I can either lie about that to myself, push it to the side, and say, no, I'm doing all right. I'm getting my workout in every day. I'm eating okay, right? And just ignore the nitty gritty nuanced details of that. Or I can address it, know that it's happening, create a plan, and move forward, being able to attack it, make those things better, clean up the nutrition, train more, train better, and put myself on a path where my behavior matches what I said my goal was. My actions match what is required for me to get to the thing I want to do. And that all just comes from being honest with yourself. Because the longer you lie to yourself and tell yourself that you're doing okay, you're the only person you have to answer to. That's it. You're the only one. No one really cares on a level that is going to make you behave in a different way most of the time. Maybe your significant other, but pretty much nobody else cares about if you're truly doing enough. They have their own life to worry about. Are you truly doing enough to reach the goals, reach the spot in life where you said you wanted to be? It has to be you. It is on you. And I think this whole situation with Sketch, the way he addressed it, came out, faced the music, and is going to move on. I think that's the way to approach life. You can't hide from things, or your goals and the places you want to go will hide from you. Put that on a t-shirt. That's all I got for this week. Hopefully we'll be much more put together and sort of situated, if you will, as we continue to go along here with the podcast. We've already ran into all the stuff, internet issues, my computer crashing, getting internet over to the office, which is on the opposite side, opposite corner, complete opposite side of the house. All of these things. So glad you guys are back with me for the Snap podcast. Glad you guys join me every week. Remember, your excuses are not valid. If you need to train, if you need to do some exercise, simple stuff, just using dumbbells in your body and some effort every day, tylerkluver.com. You're going to find TKG training. It gives you a workout every single day of the week. Really awesome, simple progressions that we're using over there. You can get strong, you can get fit, and you can do it all from the comfort of your own home for just pennies on the dollar every month. Thank you guys. Hit me up, Tyler Kluver, on the DMs, and I can answer questions or help you with anything you need fitness related. Until next time, thanks for